Hey, it's Chris here. Thanks for tuning in. This is video number three. Well, not really video number three. I had some other videos I created, but this is officially the third video in my series talking about the 911 not microservice. Well, it is a microservice. I'm just trying to remember what title I gave it in the last video. But at the end of the day, I'm showing you the ins and outs of the application that I'm building, and I think it helps to put the preview of the readmes here. So yeah, this is basically my documentation. So whenever I build a project, I loved having a really good documentation because this is basically like the manual or the Bible of the software. In the past, whenever I build applications, I end up abandoning them. I think I'm saying that word correctly. Yeah, I end up like scrapping the project when I come back to it, right? So if I take a break and come back to it, I realize like, oh my goodness, there's a lot more, work involved just getting set up again. So I just wanted to build something that can be, or write a documentation that can be referred to. It makes sense and it can be used to get things up and running as quickly as possible. So here's the overview. We'll talk about the challenges. I mentioned that in the last video. And going back to my to the architecture and what I plan to do with it. So right now, it ingests 911 calls from Detroit's API using Lambda. So there's like a private Lambda that that talks to the internet, talks to the API endpoint to get the newest data from their database because it updates daily. Once that happens, it gets cleaned and puts into Postgres, and then later on, I plan on adding machine learning and risk scores and all that kind of cool stuff. So yeah, so this is the README using Python and Lambda. I'm also using Docker as well to put the environments up on the locally so I can be able to test everything. Now, this is a bit outdated. I need to change this. I'm not using Streamlit. I don't think I'm even mentioning Streamlit in here, am I? No, but I was using a backend, fast API just to get things up and running. But then I realized like, hey, wait a second. I can get much better value if I just use API Gateway and Lambda because I'm only being built for when it runs and not just having, not when a server is running. Because if I were to deploy the backend as a fast API backend, I'm going to have that server running 24/7 in order for it to be available whenever somebody hits the endpoint. So yeah, it's not the most expensive thing in the world, but then again, I don't want to just incur costs if I don't have to, considering what may need to be scaled out in the future. So that's the Docker file here. And then how the database gets configured is that there's a initializing script for the table. So I have the incidents created. So this is the entity that I'm using. And then I'll also have these incident codes. So from the last video, I mentioned the document for the call code. So for each call code, I was able to insert a record based upon the category that it belongs to. So, I'm sorry, not the category, but I'm giving it the proper name and description based upon the call code. Now, the categories are grouped by it's like another lookup table. I can even show you that in a second. Let me go to one of my Lambdas. So yeah, inside the Lambda, inside my API, I have a categories API. And yeah, so in category groups, so this is the call codes, and I'm putting them inside of a category that is under one like main parent category. The reason I did this, and I'm not using the name as a category, because when someone looks up a crime or they're looking up information regarding like 911 call incidents, they're not going to really care if there's like for an example, since we're looking at bank alarms, nobody's not going to care whether or not if it's a bank alarm, a panic alarm. It could just be any alarm. So this signifying that there's some type of distress or whatever. Another example, assault. stabbing or shots fired active, or there's active and just happened and in progress. So there's different names for this. So there'll be too many categories. If you, as you can see, there's a lot of different names, and every call code has its unique name. So that will that would just really create a horrible user experience if you're just looking through a menu of all of these call code titles. So that's why I have the aggregate. And going back to that Lambda function here. So yeah, using the category groups, I where is the oh that's I'm sorry this returns the category group list. This is the API. I meant to show you the code that actually uses the category groups so that it can perform whatever queries that it needs. I think I can use another API endpoint. I can just use incidents. I think incidents is a good one too. So I will go to this Lambda function. Now I'm going to, I noticed that I have this in here twice. I copied this over. This was like the quickest way for me to get this running. Eventually I'm going to create like a master export so I don't have to keep copying and pasting this. Or at least have a script that automates that. So what I try to do is automate everything I can as best I can. So as you can see, this is how the categories are being mapped to the incident. So when it comes back, when the data is being fetched and queried, users are able to use a single category title. So alarms, instead of just the category or the call code name, they can get all the alarms just by using that key inside of the category groups versus the call code name. I think that's the more simple or simplified way of saying it. So yeah, so that's how that works. Yeah, and then this other endpoints. This is just my Lambda, my API Lambdas. And yeah, so this one's for a heat map. Same thing, I got the category groups. So this is a cool feature. And matter of fact, I think I should probably just start the application. I want to at least, maybe I can show that on here real quick. Let me just do docker compose up build, and so I'll give that a second. I do have Docker running, so that's good. All right, so should be able to just go to localhost 3000. Oops, localhost 3000. All right, it might not be ready yet. 1 second. Okay, yeah, still building. So just give that a second. So right now is just building the front, back end, and database. It might not actually show up if I don't have, let me make sure that I have my environment variables, because I did deploy the, okay, that's not the, yes it is, I do have it. So that is my current version of my database. So that's going to change once, every deployment of Terraform is going to change that little ID, but yeah, so it should work. So let me just make sure and go to localhost. Should see some 911 calls coming in, and I do. All right, very good. So that's what that looks like. So right now it is talking to the API endpoint and not through the localhost 8000 right now. And that's because, again, I'm transitioning to using the Lambdas in the API gateway, which is mostly done. So there's a lot of improvements. So the current version right now, it does have similar features. The only thing new right now that I can show is the heat map. So I'm able to display all of the 911 call like quantities by the hour per day. So this is a great tool that people can use to determine how safe an area is or how active an area is between certain times. This also works with neighborhood and you know what? Speaking of that, I probably can show you that now. If I can't, I'll just do that on the next video. I don't want to make it too long. But you know what? Actually, I'm going to do that in the next video because something always happens when I'm recording a video for somebody or for a project. So I'm going to put that in the next video. But I just wanted to show you what's coming on down the pipe. So yeah, if you click on the incidents, oops, there's an overlap there. Yeah, so I have the proper name and description. Still working on it, but overall works pretty good. One of the features was full screen map, so I'm able to provide a full screen view for the map, so that makes everything easy. So yeah, this is what I have so far. In my next video, I'm going to add some filters, like the filter select menu, so you can see incidents based upon crime and category. So you can find out, when do burglaries happen usually in this neighborhood. So that's the kind of questions we can answer with that. So yep, that's about it in this video. So see me on my next one. Once again, my name is Chris, and take care.